welcome to our show.
Hello, Savannah. Welcome to our show.
How are you feeling at the moment?
I'm feeling good at the moment.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking honey chamomile tea.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you still sick?
No.
Okay.
No.
I feel like it was up and down there for a sec.
It was. Yeah, I had a nasty respiratory bug of some sort for about a month, and so stay away from those things.
Did you take any medicine?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Like the big kind?
Did I take any medicine?
Yeah.
I took the little kind and the big kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it helped.
Yes, it did.
Well, I'm happy you're feeling
Yes,
better.
me too. Thank
Honey
you.
chamomile tea. That feels like a good sick tea, you know?
It's a great sick tea.
So that's why I was curious.
I've learned if you add like a tablespoon of honey and about a tablespoon of lemon juice to honey chamomile tea, it's really great on a throat.
Amplifies the flavors.
Yeah. Yes.
That's iconic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
Lee, I brought more reviews to the table today to read.
Oh, did you? Oh, good. Maybe they're good. I don't know. We'll see.
I probably wouldn't read the bad ones yet. I just don't think I have thick enough skin for it. So I'll just read. I don't think we've gotten any bad ones.
Oh, well.
But I'll just read some of the positive ones for now.
Ones, yeah.
Okay. Kenzie said, this feels like a FaceTime call we've all been waiting for. Do you use FaceTime?
I think you're going to have to I know what FaceTime is, but translate. I mean, what does that mean? What's that connote? The FaceTime call we've been waiting for. Is that like a common pop culture phrase?
I actually don't even think so. Okay. It's just culture. Like like all the people. So FaceTime. Do you FaceTime people?
Very occasionally.
Okay,
but I Zoom people all the time.
The way that I'm taking this is like, this is like if you and I FaceTimed, like if I knew you before the show for any reason, that if I just FaceTimed you and just chatted, that this is what the show is like.
Got it.
Which honestly, true.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I feel like we would probably get a tiny bit more personal on our thing, like talk more about our lives versus just like culture at large. Right. But in general, accurate.
Got it. That was Kenzie.
Thanks, Kenzie.
Thanks, Kenzie.
Okay, Rachel Cannon says, I've been looking for a theology meets pop culture podcast that examines cultural moments with curiosity and whimsy. This episode was just that for me and refreshing to listen to.
Thank you.
That feels like we've executed exactly what we're trying.
Exactly what we're aiming for, yes.
And then lastly, from Marge. Love that name, by the way.
Who?
Marge.
Marche?
Marge.
Marge. Got it.
Like Marjorie, perhaps.
Hi, Marge.
Hi, Marge. She said, I love the dialogue between Savannah and Lee, and I appreciate their dynamic that keeps things light while still getting deep.
Thanks, Marge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to have like a good time over here talking about big issues.
Yep. Keep them coming.
Keep them coming.
We'd love to hear from you.
We would love to hear from you, and we'd love to see you at the show.
This weekend.
Tell us about it.
Yes, we would love to see everyone at the show. Skirmerhorn Symphony Hall. Sunday evening, November 23, 7:30 p.m. A grand lineup there in the Skirmerhorn Symphony Hall with Sharon McMahon, Ruby Amonfu, Allison Russell, Dwan Hill, and the Nashville Choir Room. Stage full of outstanding musicians. Going to be great.
It's going to be so good.
Yep.
And for
Alicia Enstrom in our string section. She's an outstanding violinist, plays for Ed Sheeran, tours with Ed Sheeran. And she's going to do at least one feature that is like the most beautiful violin piece, I think, of all time.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
So, yeah, it'll be great. Yep.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Sharon McMahon is Sharon Says So online.
Yes.
I think a lot of people might not know her last name.
Maybe not, yeah. But yeah,
maybe they
Sharon
just call her
says so.
Sharon Says So.
Sharon Says So, yep.
And she's America's government teacher.
Yeah.
She's so brilliant.
With a whole crowd of governors, I think they're called.
I'm a governor.
Are you?
Yeah. Basically, anytime Sharon asks for money for various causes, I'm Venmoing her left and right.
Huh. Yeah.
Every time I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
I always jokingly say that if the FBI looked at my financial history, that is like the one pattern that I'm consistent on. If Sharon asks for money, I'm like, yep, there it goes. Okay, beyond that, what else are you getting into lately? Are you reading anything? Watching anything?
I've always got a pile of books. My wife and oldest son have me watching The Great British Baking Show.
Oh my gosh, isn't it so good?
It's a very sweet, endearing show.
Do you have any favorites?
Like favorite recipes or favorite contestants?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think generally speaking, like right now with the current season, I like most all of them. There's one I don't really click with.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I kind of want
But
to
it
know
would
who.
be tacky for
But I
me
don't
to
want to
say. Because I'm sure someone listening loves this person.
I'll find that out off air because I'm so curious now. I love the Great British Baking Show.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so magical.
Yeah. I was a slow adopter, but they finally wooed me in.
Are you a slow adopter in general?
That sounds like a slight.
Oh, God, no, it's not at all.
It sounded like it, Savannah.
Oh,
Are you a slow adopter, generally speaking?
Sincerely not how I meant it. I just meant like you're more of a cautious person, I think, in that way. And is that something that like it translates across the board or just with TV shows?
I don't think that is an exercise in being cautious.
Okay, nice. What is it?
I think it's an exercise in I've got so many other things that are interesting to me. Then why would I want to watch people baking in the British countryside? Like, give me a break. Really? And so, I'm slow. But then I say, oh, they've done storytelling fascinatingly well around a baking show.
And everyone's a hero. No one's a villain. They never put villains in those shows.
No, right.
They're just so tender and everyone is so kind.
Right, yeah.
I really love that about that show.
Yeah. It's almost a countercultural show.
Stop it. Lee hates the term countercultural, and I'm trying not to use it. But dare I say, there are elements that do countercultural artifacts that we have.
Yes, yeah,
I love it. Well, I just finished reading James, in case you were wondering, by Percival Everett, which I talked about a couple of weeks ago starting. Highly recommend to every human being on this planet.
That good.
Like one of the best books that I've read. And then who was I with? Lee. I was talking about this book to someone a couple of days ago, and now I cannot remember, but I can hear her voice. She was like, "Oh yeah, my sister is Percival Everett's neighbor in LA, the author." And I was like, "This is insane." So whenever a practice that I made, I think I've talked about it on the show. But early last year, I saw someone's resolution where they said that anytime they read something or heard something or watched something that moved them, that they would reach out to whoever created it and tell them thank you and say what you liked about it. And I adopted that, like, I guess early last year. And I do it now as a practice. Like, basically, anytime I'm reading something or listening to something, I'm going to their socials and leaving a comment and being like, this was brilliant. And literally with Percival, I did the exact same thing.
Did you get a reply? No reply yet.
No, I don't expect one, honestly. Yeah. I just did that to you. Lily Allen just released a new record. She's a musician. And I found the producer because the production was insane. And I found the producer on Instagram. He has like 7,000 followers, like not a big following. And I literally found him and I was like, I have to let you know how much I loved this record. And he liked the post. And I was like, good. It found him.
That's right. That's good. I love that practice. That's great.
Yeah, like basically anytime I read or anything, I'll always reach out to whoever it was.
That's great.
I mean, if I read like Michelle Obama's book, I probably wouldn't. But like for like smaller people who probably aren't getting that affirmation.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, let's start the show.
Let's start the show.
Welcome to the Subtext, where we go beneath the headlines and beyond the obvious. I'm Savannah Locke.
And I'm Lee Camp.
And we read those reviews at the beginning of the episode. We're going to start doing that more often because we have reviews to read.
Yes.
And the only way you can fill the hopper is by giving us more reviews, more ratings, letting us know what your thoughts are. And you can do that on any platform that you listen to it.
Yeah, we would love to hear from you. It helps spread the love. And plus, it gives us a great connection with you listening.
Exactly.
It's wonderful to know they're like real people listening.
I know. And that like us.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
Yeah. Well, we don't need to focus too much on them liking us.
Okay, Lee, whatever. I can't get into that.
At least liking what we're talking about. Finding it profitable, what we're discussing.
Exactly.
You've got to have the courage to be disliked, Savannah. You've got to have the courage to be disliked.
How does every episode come back to my codependency? I don't know, but here we are yet again. Yet again. If you want to follow us, though, for reals, then you can follow us on Instagram, wherever, at the Subtext Show. You can follow me personally at Savannah_Locke, and then Lee at Lacey Camp. And if you have any questions or suggestions for the show, just DM us on Instagram at the Subtext Show.
Just DM Savannah.
Savannah directly.
Direct on Instagram.
And we will read all of your feedback aloud.
She sure will.
So that the nations can hear.
Yes.
Okay, so Lee, today I have like a roundup.
A roundup.
Sure. That's what I'm calling it,
Okay.
I guess, as of this moment.
What are we rounding up?
I just found like a bunch of videos that were in my algorithm and I found myself saving them. And I would email them to myself being like, for the subtext. Like I would have that as a subject line. And there were like 5 of them at one point, And I thought, what if that's the whole episode?
Okay.
That we just go through these videos.
Let's try it.
Okay.
Maybe someone can review and let us know whether this was a good idea or a bad idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. By sending me a DM.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay, so we're just going to start with the first one. And this is called Can Christians Watch Love Island?
Can Christians watch Love Island?
Have you even heard of Love Island? I didn't even ask.
I don't know that. I think I've heard of it. It sounds like a more explicit version of Fantasy Island that was on TV when I was a boy.
I've never heard of Fantasy Island. What was that?
It was a show about an island where you could fly to, on vacation, and you could have your fantasies lived out.
Oh wow! Was it a reality show or was it like a?
No, it was a fictional drama.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Okay, so this is
that was on at 9 p.m. right after The Love Boat was on at 8. So it's interesting. The Love Boat and then Fantasy Island, and we're talking about Love Island. I wonder if it has anything to do with the television lineup in the 80s.
You never know the threads of connection.
You never know the threads of connection.
I don't know if that is here, but it might be.
Yeah.
I don't know what Love Boat was about either.
What do you think it was about?
I can't make any connections for you. Was it a cruise ship?
It was a cruise ship. Yeah. That we were not allowed to watch that at 8. But we were allowed to watch Fantasy Island at 9. Which is a bit confusing.
I don't know why it's cracking me up. I think it's just so sweet to think of you as like a kid.
And it also is confusing now that I think about it, that I was allowed to watch Solid Gold at 7.
Lee,
do you know Solid Gold?
No, I've never heard of one of these shows.
There were these Solid Gold dancers on the Solid Gold show at 7. And I always wondered, why can we watch that but can't watch whatever's going on the Love Boat?
Why were they made of? Were they made of solid gold, or were they just like? Why were they?
I think they were playing off of gold hits, and then I should not say any more about the Solid Gold dancers because there's nothing good that can come from this conversation.
No, everything that has come from this combo has been so good. I have not heard. I had heard of Love Boat.
If anybody looks them up and then just imagine poor adolescent Coke bottle glasses Lee watching the Solid Gold dancers. Yeah.
Yeah. It's too much, Lee. Okay, well, I'm thinking this is probably Love Island is more explicit probably than any of those things, just due to the fact that was like, 40 years ago?
Well, you say that without ever having watched the Solid Gold dancers.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would imagine probably so. Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah, it's just like a reality TV show.
So it's a reality show. It's not like a fantasy fiction drama show.
No. Reality TV show that happens like live, actually. It's like a sensation.
Live?
Yeah, where people like fly out to this island and it's like trashy reality TV, right? So that's just life. Okay, so I don't have to go into Love Island because actually that's not even the central focus of this video, but I do love the fact that we went on to an 80s television rant. Yeah. What network was that on?
I don't remember.
Okay, because there were only like, how many channels were there?
How many you think?
5. How many channels were there?
If you counted public television.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
They actually were basically 3 plus public television.
Nice.
Yeah, and then Fox came in somewhere in my teenage years, so that made 5. And then,
So limited options.
Limited options. Yes.
Okay, well, what this video is talking about is from an influencer named Maddie Pruitt.
Maddie Pruitt.
So Maddie Pruitt is like a Christian young influencer. Like she's probably in her like mid to late 20s.
I've heard of Maddie's name.
Yes, and she like came to fame because she was on this show called The Bachelor. Do you know that show?
I do know that show.
Okay, nice. So she didn't win The Bachelor, but she like kind of got a lot of followers from being on The Bachelor. Okay. And then now she's married to this guy named Grant, and they have 1 kid, if not 2. And then they have a podcast. And on her podcast, she was answering the question, can Christians watch Love Island. So that is the context here. So, and she also brought in the show The Summer I Turned Pretty, which was interesting because Love Island and The Summer I Turned Pretty like feel slightly different to me. That's more like a teenage like romance show or whatever.
Coming of age kind of thing?
Kind of like a coming of age thing, her figuring out who she likes, the whole thing. But then also someone dies of cancer or is dying of cancer in the show. So it has like serious tones too. Okay, so what she says is, sure, you can watch things like Love Island or like The Summer I Turned Pretty, but should you? And then she says, do the things that you watch put you at the feet of Jesus or not? So that's the metric that she uses for like whether or not you should watch a show, whether or not it puts you at the feet of Jesus. She then says that Christians shouldn't watch these things to be relatable because God never tells us to be relatable. But scripture tells us that if you love God, you don't love the world. And that if you're full of the Spirit, you're not full of the world and not full of the flesh. So that was her thesis. Mm-hmm. And conclusion, I just want to talk about it.
Okay.
How do you feel about it?
Proceed.
Well, in my defense, I just explained a lot.
It was in your stupid algorithm, not mine. And then I'm having to talk about what's in your algorithm.
Do you even have like what?
Yeah, I get reels of airplanes.
Oh.
And an occasional MMA fight.
An occasional MMA fight sent me. Like, what? I would love to see the back of your algorithm compared to mine. Yeah, but talk me through, like, what I hear her thesis being is basically, like, bringing in this metric, which is to say, does something put you at the feet of Jesus or not? That is a new metric for whether or not you should be consuming certain television shows. And my question is, what does that even mean? Like, sincerely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the language, I don't know what she means by the language, put you at the feet of Jesus, like, really means. Mm-hmm. But it's a fair question to ask, is any kind of cultural consumption helpful to one or not?
Yeah.
And is it helping form you in a way that makes you more the human being that you want to be? You know, so I also know that, you know, it's like, I mean, yeah, I've never watched it, so I don't know what they're up to. I can imagine kind of maybe what the storylines are, but I don't know that it would be helpful to me to watch that, and I don't know that am really interested in watching something like that. So why would one watch it? I don't know. And yeah, it's a good question to ask. Does this help me become the kind of person that I want to be or not? Yeah,
but I think that is a better question than what was asked.
I prefer my language to her language.
Oh, I don't know if you're funny or if I'm giggly, but like at the moment you're kind of killing me. Yeah, I think that the way that is phrased in a way that is more about formation and less about guilt or shame. Because I think that there can be kind of like this guilt. So when I was in high school, what they would say is if you were watching something on television and Jesus was sitting next to you, would you still watch it? And I think that that's more of like a fear-based tactic versus saying, hey, like, is watching this bringing out like good fruit in your life? Like, is this making you into the type of person that you want to become? Which to your point is an absolutely fair question. Yeah. And there have even been for me, like I don't watch Love Island. First of all, I'm I guess just not interested because I don't even think I've ever watched like a full episode, but all of my friends like love the show, etc. And I remember watching like 20 minutes with one of them and I was like, I just felt icky afterwards. And I was like, yeah, just not for me. But that was more like of an internal process. Like it never occurred to me to think like, is Jesus mad at me for watching this show or something?
Yeah, I mean, for a long time now, I have not found more so-called, what's the label for it? Maybe pietistic kind of language doesn't help me very much. And I feel kind of, I'm just talking about myself. I'm not trying to say anything about people who use that kind of language. For me, it's off-putting in such a way that I don't feel open to a conversation. I feel kind of judged, or even before having a conversation, even if I might generally agree with the trend of what you might be saying, to frame stuff that way, I don't find helpful.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of my sense too while watching the video, because I was like, yeah, I've definitely like stopped watching shows before, for sure.
Yeah,
sincerely because of like what it was doing in me,
right?
Which I think is like related to my relationship with God
Yeah.
or whatever. But I don't think that language and that framework is ultimately going to lead anyone down a helpful road. And I also think it's a little self-deceptive because she came up on The Bachelor. And so part of me wanted to be like, it's convenient timing for you to be saying this now after you have all of this money and influence and whatever because of a show that now you're telling people, like, would that put you at the feet of Jesus or not?
Right.
So I think that there's also some, like, of a convenience factor there, too, that I'm like, when you set yourself up in that kind of binary, no one can really survive in their own.
Yeah. I think another thing that comes to mind for me is that we also have different seasons of life. And, I mean, I can literally watch things now at my season of life that if I had watched it when I was 21 would have been a problem for me and, would have caused me to go off in places that I don't want to go off into. So I think that all of that kind of stuff has to be taken into account, right? And again, like even with that kind of stuff, I remember hearing people when I was in my 20s, them talking about, critiquing people who said, well, there are already movies that have good messages. And they said, well, would you go climb in a dumpster to find a steak?
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And so again, it's that kind of pietistic, moralistic kind of stuff. It's like, there are a lot of great R-rated movies.
Yeah.
And there are some that are really trashy and troubling,
Yeah. Yeah.
But it may not be for everybody.
Yeah.
And so,
and we all,
but also there are certain Bible stories that are not for everybody.
Hello.
And so it's like, I worked through kind of carefully when my kids were young about certain stories I would tell and certain stories I wouldn't tell.
Yeah, you're right.
Given the maturity and their age.
The content.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. And we always are like shifting to, I think that we make exceptions for certain things, which we talk about a lot on this show, of like making exceptions for certain things and not for others. It reminds me of like my grandmother when we were like young, we were not allowed to watch like anything with like sex or whatever. And on Sundays, we would always go to my grandmother's house. And then sometimes after like lunch, everyone would like go to the basement and watch a movie together. And it would always be like very pure stuff. The only exception is that we were allowed to watch any war movies that we wanted. Like Saving Private Ryan, I saw when I was little. Like very like violent movies because that was okay for us. Like that was okay for our family context and our religious system. Violence was not a problem. But swearing in a movie like the Lizzie McGuire movie, not okay, but swearing in a war movie, okay, because I remember my grandmother saying, well, that's what it's really like. But ultimately, it's because like the violence piece wasn't a problem. So it's like it's all wrapped up in that and that's okay.
Right.
And so I think that there's also something to be said, too, around like we kind of create different filters for ourselves.
Yeah.
Based on our context. That
selective moralisms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was the word you taught me in the last episode?
Hagiography.
Hagiography.
Yeah.
Classic. I wish that there was something, a singular word for selective moralisms.
I do too. We'll have to work on that.
Monomoralism.
Monomoralism.
Yeah.
I don't think that's it.
I don't think so either.
No. Well, we'll work on
it.
We'll
work on it. Okay, next video. This video is about slavery in the Bible. And so this guy named Joshua Hames is like I am seeing him all over the place, but I know it's because my algorithm, like I'll stop and watch it. And even though I don't like it or whatever, they still see that I'll stop and watch it. And then they keep feeding me more of his stuff. But he has like a lot of
prioritize the stuff you don't like.
Yeah.
That makes you mad.
But this is for research, and I think that's what's a bummer, is that my algorithm's changing, I think, because of this show.
Oh.
Because I'm purposely, like, looking at certain things to talk about. Yeah. Anyways,
right.
Okay, so Joshua Hames is, like, a pastor, and he's also, like, an up-and-coming, like, podcaster and stuff. Like, he has, I think, over 100,000 followers on socials, and he's, like, kind of growing and having, like, a lot of viral moments, whatever. And in this video, he says that the Bible never says that slavery is inherently evil, and basically says, like, it's not an institution that we should condemn. And it occurred to me, for all of my life, I had been taught about this slippery slope that leads to hell through, like, progressivism or, like, liberalism. But I was never taught about this slippery slope of this sort of reading of the Bible that would lead to saying something as evil as slavery is, like, okay.
Now, so just to be clear,
Yeah.
he says the Bible does not say that slavery is inherently evil.
And he does leave the tension there.
And
he never supports it.
He does not ever support
He does
slavery.
not ever support it, but he never condemns it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a tension there.
Okay.
So that
he
is
like you as you experienced it, he leaves open the possibility of somehow the legitimacy of slavery in our day.
according to my interpretation. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And also having knowledge of other videos that he's posted.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like one thought that I had around it, which was like, whoa, this slippery slope does go both ways. there is one going everywhere. And then second of all, my hot take, which this is a very hot take, Lee, I agree that the Bible does not inherently condemn slavery. But I'd love to hear your thoughts about it.
Yeah. Well, it is non-controversial, I think, to say that the Bible does not universally condemn slavery as inherently evil.
That's what I totally was trying to say just then.
Yeah, I think that is true.
Agreed. But a lot of people, I think that's news.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's not controversial to say that is, in fact, the case. But then the question becomes, okay, so what do you do with
So
that?
now what? Yes. Right. And that's what I want to talk about now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so far as I know, the Bible presumes a flat earth, and it never proclaims that any sort of vision that the earth is orbiting around a sun, and that the earth, it presumes kind of that the earth is at the center of all things.
Yep.
And so what do you want to do? You want to say, therefore, we should be open to that view?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no,
right.
You shouldn't, because we've learned new things, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the whole thing about history of interpretation is that do you see interpretation of Scripture as this static, fixed thing based upon the static, fixed moment at which the canon closed? Or do you have this kind of notion that we are going to continue to learn new things and see certain things in new ways?
Can you talk more about a closed canon approach?
If you think that, there's no truth beyond, there's no new competing truths beyond the Bible, then I think that it just doesn't work. I mean, you're going to have all sorts of, the example I just gave. It's not going to uphold, and you can go back to somebody like, you can go back to John Wesley, right, who has the so-called quadrilateral, of biblical interpretation. And he's got experience as one of those points that you have to take into account in interpreting Scripture. And so this is not some sort of just modern liberal idea. It's you always have to take experience into account in reading these texts and trying to make sense of these texts. And the experience of the Western world has been that the institution of slavery is an abomination and is an evil, and that we have realized clearly that this is chattel slavery is wicked.
Mm-hmm.
And moreover, you can point to the ways in which the trajectory that's in the Bible points you in that direction. Even if it doesn't get there, it points in that direction. Because there's always developing storylines in the Bible, and all of them don't get concluded at the close of the canon.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're always unfolding, or a lot of them continue to unfold, and we try to figure out where the arrows point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Isn't there a word for that? The trajectory, is it called a trajectory model?
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, there's something like that, which is really important to note. When you said the so-called quadrilateral, are you against the quadrilateral?
No, I find it helpful.
You do find it helpful?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of how Richard Rohr switches it up?
How does he switch it up?
I think he might call it the tricycle or something like that.
Huh.
But he basically says that experience is always at the front end of the tricycle.
Well, yeah. I mean, it certainly seems that we don't give enough attention to the way our subjectivity is such a immensely powerful element in all of our interpretation. So
Yes.
to that degree, I think if that's what he's getting at, that seems to make sense to
That
me.
is what he's getting at. Is like whether we like it or not, our experience is always shaping how we think about God.
Right.
And what we, the determinations we make about our beliefs and whatnot. Yeah. Okay. I was curious because when you said that, I was like, oh, that was a little pointed towards the quad. And I was very curious about that thought. But yeah, so neutral around it, it sounds. Yeah. Okay, great. But yes, the trajectory hermeneutic, we'll call it for now, which is that there are some like redemptive tones that are happening even if they aren't completed just because the Bible was a product of its culture. What do we do with that when it comes to like current day when people say stuff like, well, like if the Bible doesn't explicitly say it, then I'm out. Or like the Bible, like in this guy's case where he's saying like the Bible does never explicitly condemn slavery, and he seems to leave open the possibility that that would be a thing, and that technically is biblical. Like, what do we do with that, and how do we wrestle with that?
I mean, the Bible doesn't explicitly talk about loads and buckets of things, right? But that's not the way the Bible, in my mind, is supposed to work.
Yeah.
You know, it's a text that we're seeking to that Christians are seeking to live out of. You're trying to live out of this story, right? And that means you're always looking at your current moment in light of that story and asking, what does it mean to live faithfully to that story in this time and place? You know, I mean, one of the classic kind of examples of this that goes back to Tom Wright, though I think I first learned it from the book Truth is Stranger Than It Used to Be. You know, the classic example of imagine somebody finds a hitherto unknown manuscript from Shakespeare, all right? And let's say it's a 6-act play, and it's in perfect condition except Act 5. It breaks off at Act 5, Scene 3, and then it picks back up at Act 6. And so you're missing Act 5, Scene 3 to how many ever scenes there are in Act 5. You know, what are you going to do? Are you just going to pick Act 5, Scene 2 to repeat over and over and over again until you get to Act 6? Or are you going to faithfully improvise? Well, you're going to faithfully improvise, right? And that doesn't mean that you're not taking the story seriously. It means you are taking the story seriously because you know it has a direction and you're trying to be true to what the story is trying to accomplish. You know the beginning, you know the middle, you know the end, you just don't know this part. And so I think Tom Wright's helpful in telling us this is the way you should think about biblical interpretation, is that you're not looking for some final word about every kind of thing, but you're saying, okay, here we are in a different context, in a different place, and we're trying to faithfully improvise in light of this story in our time and our place.
Yeah. Did you read Scott McKnight's The Bible Is Not Enough?
No, I've not read that book from Scott.
It's so small. Yeah, I seriously think it was like 80 pages or something.
That's a classic Scott McKnight title.
That is a very good title, isn't it? I read it on a treadmill one day, like literally just read through the whole thing. And that was his thesis as well, was essentially like, it's not enough when we're facing our current like cultural moments. Like the Bible doesn't mention iPhones, for example, or like technology or whatever. And so we're constantly having to use imagination.
Right.
And that's what he talks about in the book, is like the importance of basically like being guided by the Spirit to use your imagination to have like a Christian vision for what we need to be doing and how we need to be engaging with our world.
And also even to know that even when you think you may be being guided by the Spirit, that could be you just making stuff up in your own mind.
I know.
And so it's like all the layers of subjectivity are so thick. And so the people that scare me are the people that refuse to act as if there's any subjectivity here. And they just want to say, God says. And what I always want to say is, let's put scare quotes around your use of the word God, and then let's debate who you think God is and debate what you think God has said.
Yes. It's not a problem that we all have subjectivity or biases when we're engaging with the text or with our cultural moments.
It's just a fact.
It's not being aware of them and not admitting that you have them, where real danger can happen.
Yes.
And like harm can be done. Yeah, I know. It's kind of a mess. Like, because when I was looking at some of the comments on this guy's video, it was really interesting to see people try to disagree and say, no, the Bible does condemn slavery. And it's like, they're still trying to use the same tool to basically like prove one thing or the other. And I think to be able to, like, Pete Unz, who I used to work for, the Bible for Normal People, He talks about how the Bible is like a wisdom book. And like to be able to say, like, I'm not going to put the Bible in a pressure cooker to be able to adequately engage with every single issue of my time, but instead treat it as like a wisdom book that has so much like evergreen lessons and everything. And there's this narrative that we're being involved in, but that it doesn't speak to specifically every single instance. And that's where we need to rely on the Holy Spirit in our community in order to, the Holy Spirit, listen to me, so Pentecostal, in our community to be able to like faithfully meet those moments with courage and prudence. And what are the other virtues?
Courage, prudence, temperance, justice.
Nice. I'm learning temperance and justice.
Faith, hope, and love.
Faith, hope, and love.
Yeah. Good.
In the words of Paul.
You got the 7.
Yeah. So it was interesting to see them arguing like with the Bible. And I was like, oh, this is fascinating to be like using this as a little weapon.
Yeah.
And it's just not adequate.
Yeah.
Like it can't be.
Right.
Yeah. Also, going back to the flat earth thing, didn't Galileo or someone get called a heretic because he was the first one who was like, you guys, this isn't flat?
Yeah, he was in the if I remember my history correctly here, in the Spanish Inquisition, he was found he was charged with formal charges of heresy.
Yes.
And there was a
for saying the earth wasn't the center of the world or something.
Yeah, for the kind of non earth centric vision of the world. The charges said something like he's found heretical for denying the plain teaching of Scripture. And it's, I mean, everybody ought to have that. Anybody who takes the Bible seriously ought to just have that emblazoned in the front cover of their Bible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, be careful what you think is so plainly true.
Taught.
And yeah.
Yeah.
I'll also say that my understanding is that story is more complex than it's often depicted by those who want to beat up the church.
Oh, nice.
But let's don't talk anymore about that right now.
I mean, literally the fact that I even remembered that name.
Yeah.
Thrilled.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Want to go on to another one?
Sure.
Okay. So we can talk about Billie Eilish. Do you know Billie Eilish at all? I
know the name Billie Eilish, but I also don't know if it is a man or a woman.
A woman.
Is it a woman? Okay.
Yeah, she's Gen Z. She's an angel from LA.
And Gen Z means she's how old?
She's like probably, I don't know, maybe 24, 25.
So she's young. Okay.
Yeah. But she's 23. She was born in 2001.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That was around the right time.
Yeah. I'm impressed I know her name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She and her brother Phineas do music together. Have you heard of Phineas?
No, sorry, Phineas.
No, that's okay. He's fine. He's doing well. She just won an award for being a music innovator because she's like, I mean, like really is like what she has done is really incredible, and the way that she treats her vocals is awesome. You saw the Barbie movie, right?
Yes.
She did the song "What Was I Made For?"
Okay.
That came in at the end of it.
Okay.
And she famously doesn't use like auto-tune on her vocals and stuff.
Good for her.
She's really brilliant.
Good for Billie Eilish. Yeah.
Okay. So she was receiving this award, and it was announced at the celebration evening, that she was going to give away $11.5 million to charity combating climate change and food insecurity. And as she accepted her award, she said this: "We're in a time right now where the world is really, really bad and really dark, and people need empathy and help in our country. I'd say if you have money, it would be great to use it for good things and give it to some people that need it. Love you all, but there's a few people in here that have a lot more money than me. If you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire? No hate, but give your money away, shorties." She said it in front of Mark Zuckerberg, which is just so iconic. The third richest man in the world. And Hailey Bieber was there. George Lucas was there. Questlove, Karlie Kloss, so many celebrities, so many rich people there. And yeah, she said, no hate, but give your money away, shorties. And it became a viral sensation.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
So anyways, it got me thinking about a lot of conversations that people have been having based on this, about people's responsibility in this time, like even just like specifically like with SNAP benefits being taken away and all that stuff, like what responsibility do people have to donate their wealth? Thoughts, feelings? Give your money away, shorties?
You're asking such easy questions today.
Go forth.
That don't require anything of us. I have known a few people that seem to have a great deal of integrity about this, but I think most of us are just a mess. And that, yeah, I mean, there's this repeated call to this sort of radical generosity over and over and over again. And the Bible talks probably as much or more about money than any other issue. And certainly Jesus talks about it all the time, and Paul talks about it a lot. Billie Eilish helping us understand what it means to be human there.
And how interesting that her giving away a very significant amount, like when I say it was viral, I mean, it was all I was seeing on socials for a while. Like everyone was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe that she's stepping up to the plate and speaking so bluntly in front of other people who can step up to the plate.
Yeah.
Which to me shows that that's not really the pattern that's currently set.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, her doing it gives her the ability to speak to others, to call them to do it.
Yeah.
To call us to do it.
To call us to do it.
Yeah.
I know. I was thinking about the story of the rich young ruler, which is in, I actually think 2 or 3 of the Gospels. I can't remember now. I actually think all 3. Call me in the Synoptics. Where this rich young ruler comes to Jesus and says, like, what do I need to do to inherit eternal life? Jesus responds and says, well, first he says, why do you call me good? But I can't go into that. And then he basically says like these 5 specific commandments that a lot of scholars theorize that he mentioned these specific ones because it had to do with the way that he treated his neighbor versus the ones that are like, you shall have no other gods before me. Jesus didn't mention that. He mentioned the ones that were neighbor specific. And then the guy was like, I've done this my whole life. Like, what else do I need to do? And Jesus says, if you want to be perfect, then give everything you have away to the poor. And then it says that the rich young ruler walked away with sadness because he had so many possessions. And I thought about that with this story and what it like, the invitation for us who maybe are not billionaires. I don't know about you.
I'm definitely not a billionaire.
Same. Yeah. But still the way that money can possess our hearts and how like we're willing to do, I think, a lot of things until Jesus asks for the cash. You know what I mean? And it's like when there's this like opportunity, like for us to be like, instead of perfect, a lot of people say that whole or complete would be like a better translation of that. And it's like, I think in this specific moment for people who have excess, including myself, that to experience more wholeness and completion in my Christian faith, that like you got to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, so I'm in college, and I was very convicted by a lot of those teachings. And so my wife and I tell this funny story about, in my young arrogance, I said to Laura, I think I could be a millionaire by the time I'm 27, but I'm explicitly deciding not to pursue that. And I want to pursue simplicity.
Nice.
And go to seminary and maybe graduate school and be a teacher.
Yeah.
And I say that not self-congratulatory, because what I discovered was that I was really bad at that. And we went through a lot of years where we were really poor.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used WIC for our kids when they were born, and to buy milk. And my dad, when they moved a number of years ago, sent me my tax return. He was an accountant, and he always used to do our taxes. And he sent me my tax return for I think it was the first year our first son was born, and our adjusted gross income was like $14,000 that year. And so we knew what it was like to be poor, and we knew what it was like. We learned what it's like to not have health insurance. And you're like asking when your kid's being born, how much is that going to cost?
Yes. Yeah.
No one asks that in the hospital. And the hospital is not set up to tell you that, right? So we learned a lot about how much it costs to be poor.
Yeah.
It costs much more to be poor than it does to be wealthy.
Yeah.
And so we've learned a lot about that stuff. And then in time, I had to realize that I felt like I was using some of that almost false spirituality as a way to avoid being more responsible in doing what I had to do in order to be fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
And so we've kind of come at it from a backside, you know.
Yeah.
And these days we're comfortable. And so now I'm looking at it oftentimes thinking, and we try to give a lot, But it's also, I'm having to ask myself the question, could you be giving more? Should you be giving more?
Yeah.
At this point. So yes, we've grappled with those texts a lot, and they have convicted us. And I always and only know, I love the story about Jesus talking about the servant who always says, I'm an unworthy servant. And I can say that now in these days in a way that it's not shaming, but it's just like, it goes back to something we said in a previous episode, where Stanley Hauerwas said something like, this intrinsic truth to Christianity, you never get it right.
Yeah.
And it's like, we don't ever get it right, but we're a part of this story. So then we can ask ourselves a question, okay, here I am in this season of life. What is required of me, or what does it look like for me to live out of this story in some sort of beautiful, true, good way?
Yes.
In this moment.
Yep.
And keep asking myself that question over and over again in each new season of life.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's a really good story. I think with like the Billie Eilish video, what it felt like to me was an invitation to reassess my own generosity. And like it started really great conversations with me and Todd where I was like, listen, like with this SNAP benefit stuff, like it's such an immediate need that it's like we can meet it. Like I know that we can because we have the money right now. And so I think for us, it was like a really good challenge to say like, yes, Billie Eilish can give $11.5 million. Like a queen. And I'm so happy she did. But we also have extra that we can give as well. And there's like a need now. And why wouldn't we meet it? And that's what it felt like to me. And like the resistance in me felt very like rich young ruler-ish, where it was like, dang it hurts. Like, because I want to keep it, which shows it's time to give it away. Yeah. Also, I'm reading this book called Poverty in America. Have you heard of it?
No, I have not.
OMG, Lee, you will love it. No, Poverty by America by Matthew Desmond. But it reminded me when you were talking about like the WIC stuff and going to the hospital and asking how much certain things would cost for your kid to be born. And he's talking about why America is so rich, but has such like extreme levels of poverty that aren't seen in other like developed nations, and how basically how expensive it is to be poor. And I think that a lot of people don't realize like that system piece, like especially once again with the SNAP, it's so like culturally in the moment. But like a lot of people don't realize how expensive it is to be poor.
Right.
And I think having like compassion and empathy and also practicing generosity is really important in these moments.
Yeah. And there's so many questions that arise, the fact that you can be working really, really hard and still just can't pay your bills in various places in the country. And, I have this friend who I've known ever since I was a first-year faculty member, and he works two jobs, 40-hour-a-week jobs. And he just is incredible, but he's making, low wages, and he lives in Nashville, and he's trying to take care of a family.
Yeah.
And he's done that for decades now.
Yes. Yeah.
And so there's lots of those kind of cases. And then the whole kind of welfare thing so often overlooks the way in which there's all sorts of corporate welfare.
Yep.
And all sorts of subsidies that are given to some of the most wealthy and most powerful corporations in the country. And, we don't have that same sort of reactionary taboo around that kind of handout. Which reminds me, when recently, when there was a lot of fuss about, so-called government handouts, one of my friends who teaches at a school in a county south of us, which is one of the wealthiest counties, in the country, was teaching in public school, and some of the kids were kind of mocking people getting handouts, and they're sitting there in a public school, and she, so I can't remember how she did it, but she basically said, "Look, don't you like going to school and sitting in this classroom? Yeah. There's your handout, right?"
Yep.
And so the question is not, the question is always how do we try to share, and how do we try to distribute things, and who are we going to prioritize, and who gets some help?
You're exactly right.
Right. And why do we always assume that it's only the wealthy and the powerful that are going to get that kind of help?
Yes, you're exactly right. Yeah, that you'll love this book because that's basically the thesis, but embedded with a bunch of like actual real life examples. I'm happy you brought up your friend working the full-time jobs, because I think a lot of people think that people are poor because they're not working enough, but actually a lot of poor people are working more than people who make living wage, but it's just the types of jobs they're working aren't paying well enough.
Yeah.
And then the government has to come in and assist because corporations are underpaying their employees, which is brutal.
Yeah.
Steve Besner talks about this. This will be my last roundup for the day. Steve Besner talks about this on a thread that he wrote. And Steve is an angel. I really hope you guys get to meet one day. He was a pastor. Now he's a professor at Baylor, and he does a lot of work around poverty. And he wrote this thread. I'll just read through it. Number one, if you want the government to pass biblical laws on things like abortion, then why not feeding the hungry? Which I think is a great question to ask regarding like hermeneutics, which we talked about with the slavery thing. Number two, the Bible is filled with laws about taking care of the poor. He said 2,000 verses or so. Number three, the Old Testament Jubilee, which was a cancellation of debt or return of property, was specifically designed to prevent the wealthy from taking so much that the poor couldn't survive. Such an overlooked thing. Number four, being poor does not mean that they are lazy. Someone being rich does not mean that they work hard. And then he said to Google the working poor or Alice income level, which I also encourage you to. Number six, corporations, Walmart, oil companies, defense contractors get tax subsidies every year. So do certain families. Somehow this gets a pass. Tax subsidies are, in fact, government handouts. The system usually allows the wealthy to decide what to do about the poor. Interestingly enough, the Bible has a few things to say about that as well. If you've never been poor, you don't understand how expensive it is to be poor, especially in America, which I think is such a good shift around these conversations that are kind of taking over the cultural ethos at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all of that's beautifully said.
I think so too. Once again, would highly recommend Poverty by America by Matthew Desmond to all the people involved. And in closing, Kim Kardashian.
This was also in your algorithm?
This is my for real last roundup. It's a bonus roundup because it's not serious. Kim Kardashian on her show said that she doesn't think the moon landing's real.
Why are we entertaining
Do you know
this?
how many people watch her show?
Lord have mercy.
Lee, what are your thoughts?
I refuse to entertain a conversation about that.
Specifically the moon landing or Kim?
Kim talking about the moon landing.
Okay. Do you really believe in the moon landing, or are you just that against conspiracy theories?
Of course I believe in the moon landing. And I think that giving airtime to such stupidity is a waste of airtime.
Yeah. It's a pretty big deal at the moment.
Yeah.
A lot of people are doubting it's real.
Lord have mercy.
Because of the gravity thing or something.
Because of the gravity thing.
Yeah, because...
The gravity thing.
And on that note, we'll end.